Hey, what's up, folks? This is Seraph, the philosophy guy. I would just like to say I will be airing out a podcast soon, one that can be consistent, because I've had a truckload of podcasts which went unfinished, like the Academy of Secular Thought, Street Science, and Science Hope Heads, and then we had Science Dudes. But it would be actually wrong to say they went unfinished. I think it's right to say they achieved their purpose at a particular time when I was starting them off. So I thought it right to kind of branch out into a more consistent and well-founded podcast, which would be just based on very short sessions, which are like lessons towards surrounding the field of Big Bang cosmology, astronomy, and a little bit of philosophy here and there, because the whole purpose of the channel is just to propagate the love for science and philosophy. And this idea came from a quote that I came across while reading this book called the Science Book, which is basically a collection of short articles tackling different breakthroughs and milestones that we've had in the scientific field and all the discoveries that have been made. So this book, in the introduction, there's a quote from Murray Gell-Mann from Stephen Hawking's universe, 1989, and it said, "It is the most persistent and greatest adventure in human history, this search to understand the universe, how it works and where it came from. It is difficult to imagine that a handful of residents of a small planet circling an insignificant star in a small galaxy have their aim a complete understanding of the entire universe, a small speck of creation truly believing it is capable of comprehending the whole." Yeah, so this quote just kind of makes your heart surge with pride to be part of the human species, because of the primary reason that we are among the select few species that can understand their place in the whole universe. We can understand why we can even ask the question, why are we here? Are we part of a grander plan, or are we just here by sheer chance? But regardless of all those questions, we had to be here first to even ask those questions. So it's not a small thing that we're able to have such conversations that surround our purpose, why we're here, what's the purpose of the universe, where is it going, why is there something other than nothing? So all those questions, just the mere fact that you can even ask that question should fill your heart with pride that you're in a position to even ask. Because if we are here merely by sheer coincidence and chance and some sort of cosmic accident, you are still going to ask that question regardless, because you had to be here to ask it. So I thought the podcast should border around the wonders of the universe, that which makes us who we are, Because I think specifically for the audience I'm making it for, which is primarily the Zambian audience, ours is a country that hasn't really delved into the love for the universe. And it's actually a great thing to be among the few people that are starting to push these topics so hard, because they really matter. You know what I mean? I would like to see our country reach a stage where we'll also be among the great giants racing towards space exploration, because if there's any noble venture or cause in the whole human experience, it's actually space exploration. Everything else kind of falls beneath that hierarchy. So I thought it right to start this podcast, and it's only my effort through everything I do throughout the whole channel to just propagate the love for science and philosophy. And I thought the best way I can do that, the best way I can do that is trying to teach that through this little podcast I'm gonna start. And the name for it will be called ASTROPHILIA, which is a combination basically of two words. Astro, which is everything to do with space, galaxies, stars, and the whole visible universe. And then philia, it's love. So you connect those two words, you have basically something that implies a love for space, galaxies, stars, and the whole entire universe. So it's only my purpose to this podcast that I can turn all of you, my audience, into astrophiles. Because at the end of the day, if there's any grander purpose or greater cause for which to live, is to understand your place in the whole visible universe. Is to understand your place, why we're here. And I think that question has crossed each and every person's mind. Some people are comfortable with the fact that they have found answers. Maybe they have, who knows? But some are only born into a lineage where there are already answers which are practically not answers, but they're satisfying enough for them. But there are others who fall on the extreme of things, or who fall outside the purview of preconceived ideas and notions that have been birthed from ancient civilizations. And those people make up folks like me. So with those few bunch who are outside the circle, it's simple. We believe that there's actually more to the human question than we actually realize. And with every passing generation, it's becoming so obvious that people that lived prior to us, or people that came before us, didn't know as much as we know, or didn't know half of what we know scientifically. And that also goes to show that knowledge is very progressive. And because of its progressive nature, you can't mount it into anything objective and fixed. There's no rigidity with that. And when you come to realize that, that should be a very unsettling idea if you're of the idea that all the answers have been laid down to you on the table. I don't think they have. Who knows? Chances are down the line we might actually have another theory of how the visible universe came about. But just the mere fact that we have at least something as firm and standing a theory as the Big Bang should surge your heart with pride that for the first time in human history, this species understands its place, and as well as where it came from. That's not a small thing. That's grand. If you really think about it, it's actually not a small thing. It's very huge. One of the greatest discoveries ever made. And just imagine when Edwin Hubble first noticed that galaxies are receding at a very fast rate. Just that discovery itself was a groundbreaking discovery. Or when Charles Darwin just realized that species are actually not immutable. That was also something. It simply goes to show that knowledge is very progressive. And it is the purpose of this podcast to help you get to love your place in the universe, and to help you start asking the bigger questions, and to help you wake up from the fact that you shouldn't be so complacent with the answers that, if you really think about it, aren't really answers and can't stand in the face of intellectual inquiry. So this podcast will be airing on preferably the end of this week. I will put up my first episode, which will be, of course, we have to start from the beginning. So first episode will be preferably what is the Big Bang? Because I don't think most of my audience kind of fully understand what the Big Bang is. A lot of people have a very vague idea. So how about we break it down in baby steps and just run you through the whole thing. So I'll be tackling different topics: the Big Bang, cosmic inflation, CMB, what is the CMB, what is entropy, all these big topics. And the goal is to just help you come to love science and philosophy. So new podcast coming soon. First episode will be up by the end of this week. All right.